I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is A Fair Offer. And it can be a nice offer that you are making to someone, or that they are making it to you in the next week or so. And the reason why is because on Sunday we are having a glorious new moon at 3 degrees of Libra. Libra rules fairness and balance, and it is a very charming air sign, and it rules peace and partnership and love and marriage, and it rules the law and all legal contracts. But it also rules beauty, since its ruler is Venus, and it rules art, and it rules diplomacy and compromise and negotiation. Because when we're speaking of something that is fair, and Libra also rules balance, when we're speaking of something that's fair, it doesn't mean you get everything that you want. It simply means that whoever you're dealing with wants to get something too. And so because you're in a negotiation and you want it to come out fairly, that means that you get something you want, and so does the other person. And so nobody gets everything. But still, there is the possibility, a very good possibility, of a fair offer coming up. Either one that you're thinking of making, that would be very nice because the aspects are very good for that, or one that could be headed your way. And if you get any kind of an offer, I suggest that you really listen to it, because there could be a little more behind it than you realize. And the reason why is that fair offer, due to the sun and the moon both being in Libra at 3 degrees on Sunday, is very powerfully backed up. And it's backed up by very strong planets. They're called malefic planets because generally they get you in trouble. But right now, they are trining each other in the heavens, and they're also trining that new moon on Sunday. And so Mars is in Gemini. Mars is a planet that rules war and aggression and jealousy, hate and greed and anger. And it also is in Gemini, which rules communication and change. And so you may anticipate that a fair offer is going to bring change, but it could be a sort of a hurried change, or a change that makes you really have to go into high gear because Mars is involved. But that Mars in Gemini, and Gemini rules part-time things, so it doesn't have to be a fair offer for something full-time. It might be part-time, which might fit in your schedule better. But that Mars in Gemini is trining the sun and the moon in Libra. That's good because Mars is a very energetic planet. So will you have enough energy to fulfill a fair offer? Yes, you will. But it gets even better than that because Saturn, another malefic planet, which is the planet of time, and it is the planet of rewards earned over a long period of time. And so Saturn is called the taskmaster. It means that it will require you to get something right. And if you don't, you get an opportunity to do it over and over again until you do get it right. And that Saturn in Aquarius, which rules the future, is retrograde, which means that your future plans have to be rescheduled. And that might be because you're going to get a fair offer, because that Saturn is also trining the sun and moon at 3 degrees of Libra on Sunday, and it is trining that Mars in Gemini. So those two very powerful planets are actually trining the sun and the moon, the lights, on Sunday, in a sign that represents partnership, or it represents getting along with people, or negotiating something, or working very well with others. But it could all come about because of a fair offer. One where you don't get everything you want, but you do get something that you want, and so does the other party. So they can both of you can be happy. And so it is a very strong indication that there will be a serious and perhaps a somewhat energetic fair offer coming your way, or one that you are going to decide to make. Maybe you're just now making up your mind on something, but at least it would be fair. And there is something else going on behind the scenes that indicates that it would be a very fair offer. That's why this is a good time for this. And that is because an unusual thing is happening to that sun and new moon on Sunday at 3 degrees of Libra. 3 degrees is very early in a sign. Every sign has 30 degrees in it. And so what is happening is that there can be something rather serious and very nice going on behind the scenes that results in your fair offer. You know, either you're making it or someone's making it to you. But it can be serious and very nice. And it can have the approval of somebody who's pretty high up. Now, why is that? Because we know that Venus, the ruler of Libra, has been in Virgo. And it is now coming up to the end of Virgo. And Venus is going forward. And it is actually conjuncting Mercury, which has been in Libra for a long time, but Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury, when planets go retrograde, they go back on their orbit, backward. And so Mercury has now left Libra, and it is going backward into Virgo. And Mercury rules Virgo. It's very strong there, but it is retrograde. And so what is happening is that one planet is going backward, that's Virgo, and it's at 28 degrees of Virgo, so it's very late in the sign. And one planet is going forward, and that is Venus coming to the end of Virgo, and they are conjuncting each other, Venus and Mercury. That's nice, and that's happening in Virgo. But they are so late in the sign of Virgo, and the sun and new moon on Sunday are so early in the sign of Libra, that these planets are all lining up. A conjunction occurs when planets are within a 7-degree orb of being in perfect alignment. And so that is actually what is happening among these 4 planets. 2 in Virgo, one going backwards and the other one going forward. But they are actually conjuncting the sun and the new moon in Libra, because it's only at 3 degrees, and they are at the end of Virgo. And so that simply means, if you're wondering why somebody might make you a very fair offer right now, sort of a serious one, one that requires your energy, you've got to put some energy into it. But still, if you're wondering why that's going to happen, it might be because somebody has been thinking things over, looking at the facts, really going over the details. Those are all the things Virgo rules. and they are reconsidering something that has to do with your record of achievement in one way or another. Because Virgo rules our jobs. And Venus is there as well. And Venus is Libra's ruler. And Venus is going to be coming, you know, it's very close to the end of Virgo. It's going to be going right into Libra, the sign it rules. That'll be even better. But it indicates either kind or loving thoughts behind the scenes, or good feelings behind the scenes that are quietly sort of in the background, connected to a fair offer. Because these 4 planets, 2 in Virgo, going in different directions, and the 2 in Libra, are all actually conjuncting. And you can't break a conjunction. When planets, which are in their own orbits, get close enough so that they're within an alignment that is 7 degrees or less, you can't get anything in between that. That's why you can never break a conjunction, which is good if they're really good planets like the Sun and the Moon and Venus and Mercury. That is why you really should consider a fair offer, or if you've been sitting on the fence for a while, wondering if you should make a fair offer on something, this would be an excellent time to do it, because there would be better thought, more thorough thought and communication. Remember, that's Mercury behind the scenes, and a emphasis on either a very nice person or a person in a high position who has good feelings about you anyway. And so you should consider it. Even though there are 6 planets in the heavens right now, all going backward on their orbits, and that simply means that a lot of things, your plans, or procedures, or protocols, or management, all these things are subject to change because there's so many planets going backward, indicating, when planets are retrograde, it indicates that something's got to be redone because it hasn't worked, and so it's got to be redone. And that may be why you get a fair offer. Maybe you're the person that's going to be the right person finally for something. And somebody behind the scenes knows that, and also other people that want to see the job get done right, they know it too, because that Mars and Saturn are trining the new moon. So anyway, this is an excellent time for you to either make or get a fair offer. But just remember, fair means you don't get everything. But it does mean that both parties can feel that they've got something that they want and that it's very fair. So you just have to make sure that the terms are correct and perhaps written down. Remember, Libra rules the law and all legal contracts. Or you have to make sure that if somebody wants, is setting up deadlines that you're not sure you can reach, you need to get a schedule worked out in advance so that you can do your best. So anyway, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, this is a time, Aries, when you can feel as if your luck is changing a little bit. And the reason is that luck is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your sign, Aries, but it's retrograde. It's one of those have to redo something or start over on something. And it can be, Aries, since your sign rules new beginnings, that you have to step back now and you have to reconsider what your future plans will be, because they're going to have to get rescheduled. And it may be that what you had been wanting to do, and particularly if it involves a past decision of yours, you may be able to see the facts now or realize that perhaps your energy level isn't quite what it used to be, and you may be deciding that, well, maybe you better cut something out or change something or go from full-time to part-time. Nothing wrong with that, because actually the Sun and new moon in Libra on Sunday are opposing that Jupiter in your sign, so they're opposing your sun sign. And Pluto in Capricorn is continually squaring your sun sign until 2025. And Pluto in Capricorn represents people at a very high level in management. So there may be a management or a policy decision that doesn't really work in your favor right now, or that you would have to adjust to in some way. Or it could simply be that you want to step back right now and maybe not be in a partnership or not involve yourself in something. Maybe you've just decided you've done what you could, that's enough, and you want to move on. That would be a pretty good idea, because Aries, you will have to look for something else to do. And the reason why is that Jupiter is at 4 degrees in your sign today, and it is retrograde. So it's going to keep going backward. Okay, well, it's only got 4 more degrees in your sign to go backward on. and then it will be in Pisces. So what I'm saying is Jupiter's about to leave your sign. Now it will come back into your sign later, but it's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And that's the only planet in a fire sign right now. And so you need to sort of either take a time out and think a little bit more about what you want to do, or you do have to consider the fact that there could be a partnership or a legal arrangement that is not going to work out in your favor if you continue on. And and it might be due to policy changes or management changes or something like that. But either you should try to get a rest right now, Aries, maybe you've been pretty busy, or else you should take a time out anyway and try to think of how you want to sort of reschedule your future plans in some way, because they're going to need to be rescheduled. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when there are 4 planets in the Earth signs in a grand trine, just like there was last week. I think last week there might have been 5. But anyway, the point is, Taurus, is that in a way you're sort of sitting pretty because you too have a lot of backup. And you have 2 wonderful planets that are at the end of Virgo. And remember, one of them is going backward. That is Mercury, which has now entered Virgo and it's retrograde. And the other one's going forward, which is your ruler, Taurus. It's Venus. And it too is now at the end of Virgo. But they're both trining your sun. And they're trining Uranus in your sign. And Pluto in Capricorn is also trining Uranus in your sign, and Mercury and Venus. And so it's important that Venus is in trine to your sun because that's your ruler. And of these planets, 4 planets, only one of them is direct, but it's Venus. So, because Mercury's retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, and Uranus is retrograde. So definitely I think that you're going to have to sort of go back and redo some financial plans of yours. And that is because they need redoing. In other words, it may not be your fault that the value of some of your investments could have been fluctuating quite a bit. And even if you thought that your investments were in very safe things, so that you feel completely in charge of the money, you're a good money manager, still, you're not in charge of the interest rates. And you're not in charge of inflation. And you're not in charge of huge debt that other people can have, or even some debt that you might have. So this is a very good time for you to sit down and really think about the money, Taurus, while your ruler, Venus, is trining your sun. That is one indication that you could get better health news, or you could be deciding to get in better health or get in better shape. And that would be good because Virgo rules nutrition. So perhaps if you follow a better diet or exercise program, that will be good for you, really good. I mean, we're talking long life here, Taurus. You can't have a long life if you're sick in one way or another. So you have to really take care of yourself and be in good health, which I think you can do wonderfully well with right now. The fact that Venus rules Libra and the Sun and New Moon on Sunday are in Libra is an indication that there may be a fair offer around for you, Taurus, or you may be deciding to make a fair offer on a piece of property because your sign rules high-priced property. So there's all kinds of ways where a fair offer could be something that could be very attractive to you right now, whether you're making it or whether you're getting it. And that may be a better way to handle your finances as well. So I think that this is a time, Taurus, when it can be very fortunate for you if you just sort of try to do everything right now. And you have a lot of good planets trining your sun. The reason why I suggest that you try that right now is because the planets can be changing around. See, Venus is going to leave Virgo. And eventually Mercury will turn around and go direct, and it too will leave Virgo. That'll be two really good planets that won't be trining your sun anymore. And that's coming up pretty quick. So that is why I'm saying try to take advantage of the good aspects to your sun sign right now, Taurus. And if you're thinking about getting yourself in shape in order to be in better health, that's a great idea. But if you're also considering a financial transaction, maybe you could get your finances in better shape too. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, it's very fortunate for you that we're having that new moon on Sunday at 3 degrees of Libra, Gemini, because as I explained, there is a grand trine in the air signs. And that's because Mars in your sign is trining the sun and new moon on Sunday at 3 degrees of Libra. And they're the lights, they have extra backup because of planets that, Virgo is right behind Libra, because of planets that are coming up to the end of Virgo and they're conjuncting that sun and new moon. There's a little more going on than just the sun and new moon in Libra. It's what's backing it up that is really nice. Hard to see, but really nice. And so Saturn in Aquarius is also trining Mars in your sign and the sun and new moon. And so I would say, Gemini, that this is a time when you might get a fair offer, because that sun and the moon will be trining your sun sign, but you may also decide to make a fair offer. And that could be in some sort of a work arrangement, or it could be regarding an investment that you're thinking about, or it could be on something that you want to either buy or sell, because Gemini rules buying and selling. Or there might be some kind of part-time effort, whether it's in your community or whether it's another little part-time project that you want to work on, and that is possible too. And so that would involve a fair offer. Now the emphasis is on fairness. And Mars in your sign is not noted for being a fair planet. It's an aggressive planet. So I wouldn't go overboard right now, Gemini, because you might surprise too many people with your energy right now. Instead, you should, for every word you say, you should be willing to listen to one as well. Because a fair offer means you don't get everything that you want, but you get something. And somebody else doesn't get everything they want, but they get something. So, this could be a story with a happy ending, Gemini, as long as you don't sort of oversell it or overdo it in any way. And there's also the possibility that an offer, whether you're making it or getting it, could be rather stern or serious, or something that requires a lot of responsibility. That's Saturn trining Mars in your sign. Believe me, with Mars in your sign, you are going to have the energy to do something else, or do something new, or do something in addition to what you're already doing. You could do it, Gemini, because Mars is a planet of energy. But you have strong backing from that Saturn in Aquarius. And that Saturn is retrograde, meaning you will have to reschedule some future plans. But particularly if you take on something else. That makes sense. And this very fair new moon in Libra is probably going to bring you a fair offer, and which will have some very nice feelings behind it and some careful thinking behind it. And so that will be somebody's motivation for making a fair offer to you. But it's just not going to show, but it's there. So, Gemini, I strongly suggest that you consider a fair offer, whether you're making it or getting it. And I strongly suggest that you say yes. Because, in the end, when the work has to be done, it's better if you have the energy to do it. And you do. With Mars in your sign, you're going to have plenty of energy. So I would say there shouldn't be anything holding you back. It will be something extra in your life. But Gemini rules two of everything. Geminis are used to, they're used to being very flexible. So think about saying yes, and then end the conversation. You don't have to say much more than yes, Gemini. Just remember, for every word you say, Try to listen for one as well, so you don't overdo it or scare anybody. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. This is a time, once again, when there's only one planet in a water sign, and it is Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde, but it is trining your sun, which means you can still be able to go behind the scenes and draw on your past experiences or people that you've known behind the scenes for a while and be able to get some answers. And that would be a good idea, Cancer, because you may need some answers, or you may need a little sort of backup help in one way. So you should think about renewing old ties in one way or another. If for no other reason than if you receive a good offer, you're going to need references, and so you could touch base with some of those people. The new moon on Sunday in Libra at 3 degrees, and with the sun there, both of the lights will be squaring your sun. And so that means that a fair offer can be even a little bit challenging to you, because maybe you were thinking of all the things that you wanted in some sort of negotiation. And remember, fair doesn't mean that you get everything. So you'll have to think about which things are more important to you than others. And I'd stick with the real important ones and be willing to let some other things go if another person wants to negotiate with you. And then Pluto in Capricorn is opposing your sun. It's been doing that for years, and it is won't stop until 2025. So it can be that you may want to, Cancers are not really ambitious people, but unless something touches their heart, and then nothing stops them. Cancer is the sun sign of America, and no matter what your sun sign is, Americans are all very patriotic. And so you are too, Cancer. And in a situation where you may want to show your patriotism, you would do that with gusto. You would do that without thinking twice. And if it required sacrifice, that would be okay with you. Because country and home and family count. And so this is a time when it's important to be fair, and it's also important for you to go behind the scenes. And what I would suggest you do is touch base with people that you've known for a while. They may be people that no one else knows you know, but I would touch base with them for a while. Try to get the facts behind the scenes about things, and then decide what you want to do. Because there will be some sort of legal negotiation or partnership issue that probably has to be redone or changed or eliminated, or something, some future plan has to be rescheduled in some way. And so you'll have to do that, Cancer. But it could be for the best. And you know, you don't know that you're going to get what you want in a negotiation until you agree to the negotiation. If you say, well, okay, I'll talk to somebody, or I'll begin to consider this, well, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. And then if you are insisting on fairness, well, everybody else should do that too. And if they're not being fair, just step back again. It doesn't mean that you have to be a victim, Cancer. But it does mean that there's some sort of a legal entanglement that can be quite challenging to you right now. And in one way or another, you're not going to like it. And so that is why you'll have to think things over and touch base with old friends behind the scenes before you decide something. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, Leo, the emphasis is really in the grand trine in the earth signs and a second grand trine in the air signs under this new moon in Libra on Sunday. that new moon actually sextiles your sun, because Libra sextiles Leo. And so, Leo, that's good for you. You could have or be around or know of some sort of fair offer that could be coming to you, or you may decide to make a fair offer to somebody else. And that would be good. Mercury and Venus, Libra's own ruler, are also sextiling your sun. They're a little closer to your sun because they're in Virgo, but they're very late Virgo. They're actually conjuncting the sun and new moon in Libra on Sunday. And that means there can be some rather nice feelings behind a fair offer. Maybe they don't show to everybody, but they're there. And so anyway, this is a time when, Leo, you may want to sort of think about doing something entrepreneurial, or something that's new, or something where you're sort of the boss and in control. Well, Leos like that. They like to be in control. But at the same time, one person can't do everything. So it would be a good idea to bring on a partner of some sort. Even if they're just a part-time partner, you know, not a full-time partner or anything, but just somebody around to help you. That would be great. And maybe that is possible, because Mars in Gemini is also sextiling your sun. But that Saturn in Aquarius, that is opposing your sun sign, Leo, which means your future plans have to be redone or rescheduled. And it is due to the high standards that somebody else has or that the world has. So there's going to be some sort of change that it's been sort of building for a couple of years, and it's really got to change. And that's that Saturn being retrograde in the sign of the future, Aquarius, still opposing your sun, and Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, meaning that there can be fluctuation in your investments. So you have a lot to think about, Leo. And you know, you don't need to think about everything all at once. This is a new moon in Libra. It sextiles your sun. If you get a fair offer, you really should consider it. Or if you're deciding to sort of strike out on in a new direction and maybe take on a part-time partner that can help you, actually I advise you to do that. I think that would be good. It leaves you in control, but it also gives you some help in starting something new, and that would be good. Remember, the captain of a team isn't very effective if they don't have a team. So think about adding team members, Leo. That would be good for you. You can still be captain. And what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, you may be a little confused at the moment, because Mercury, which is your own ruler, is now retrograde in your sign, so it's going backward in your sign at the same time that Venus, which is a very good planet, which has been going through your sign for a while, is coming up to the end of Virgo, and it is conjuncting that Mercury. It's just that Venus is going forward and Mercury is going backward. And so they won't be conjuncting for too long because they're going in opposite directions. But they're doing that now, and on Sunday they'll be doing that, and they'll be actually conjuncting the sun and new moon, which are in very early degrees of Libra. So they're all together. 2 at the end of Virgo and 2 at the start of Libra. But it just means, Virgo, that you are either going to get a fair offer based on a detailed examination of your work record, so it might have something to do with your job, and it's going to be, and whoever is behind that offer likes you better than you think. They do. They admire you, or they really like you, and they are part of the reason why you might get the fair offer. Just remember, fair doesn't mean that you get everything. And you know, Virgos, They go by facts and details. And this is not the time to be nitpicky, Virgo. It's just if somebody makes you a good offer, you should say yes, because there's a little more good feeling behind that good offer than you think, that fair offer. Venus is just about to go into Libra, but it's there conjuncting Mercury. So somebody has a real clear idea of why they want to make you an offer. And I think you should listen to it. Really seriously consider it. And do it. Because there's a grand trine in the earth signs. Okay, so you're not going to get hurt, because you are an earth sign. But there's also a grand trine under this new moon in the air signs. So there's going to be some really good communication going on. Something where you might remember the conversation for your whole life long, because it will be memorable in some way. Not just the fair offer, but the whole discussion of it will be memorable. And just remember, it was based on a clear, proven record of dedicated achievement that you've already done, Virgo. See, the results are in. And that's why you could get this fair offer. You could also make a fair offer if you're thinking of, say, buying a piece of real estate or buying anything. It doesn't mean you have to pay a high price. With high inflation, who's going to pay the highest price? Nobody, because it's inflated. But you could make a fair offer on something, and you just might get it, Virgo. So good luck. You're in a good spot to say yes. So I hope you are going to just be very agreeable to something. And yes, you should insist on it being fair, but you don't have to dwell over every detail, because whoever's making the offer thinks a great deal of you. They like you better than you think, and they admire you. So you don't want to offend anybody like that, Virgo. You just be at your best. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. On Sunday, you're going to be having a fabulous new moon at 3 degrees in your sign, and it's fabulous for 2 different reasons. One, because it has such obvious, strong backup, and that's because Mars in Gemini is trining the new moon in your sun sign on Sunday, and so is Saturn in Aquarius. And so Mars and Saturn are real no-nonsense planets. I mean, they're not lovey-dovey. They mean business. And so that's good, Libra, because Libras are so diplomatic and so charming that they have a hard time making up their mind about things sometimes, because they want to think about the whole thing. They want to consider everybody's side. You know, they want to be fair. Well, you just can't take forever to do that, Libra. Sooner or later, you'll have to make a decision on something. It might be coming right up, because Mars is a very energetic, aggressive, demanding planet. And so it can be that there are people around you that want to charge forward right now. And they really don't want you to just sit on the fence. They want you to join them and do that. And then there are people that can be demanding that you do something at your best, because Saturn is a planet of time, and it's in the sign of the future, Aquarius, but it's retrograde. So you may go back to something that you had done in the past, but perhaps do it in a new way now. But it might be a way that's familiar to you. And that would be, or that you already have experience in. Maybe it's not the same thing, but you could rely on your past experience to make it work. And that would be just an added bonus for you right now, with Saturn and Mars trining your sun, where the new moon is. And on top of that, there's more going on in that new moon than it looks like, because 2 planets in Virgo, Mercury and Venus, are right at the end of Virgo, and so they are actually conjuncting the sun and new moon on Sunday at 3 degrees. So you have something or someone very nice in the background of your life, Libra, or you have something around that you've been careful about, that that represents something that you're just made for. And so whether you're making the fair offer or you're getting the fair offer, you know, all you have to do is say yes. Because people who really care for you behind the scenes, they're going to make it work for you. They want to. So they will. Congratulations. What does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when just like Cancer, there's only one planet in a water sign right now, and it's Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces, and it is trining your sun, which is good. Then Neptune is under a little bit of pressure at the moment because Mercury has retrograded back into Virgo, and Neptune has for a long time been the only planet at home in the sign it rules, Pisces. And so that made it strong even when it was retrograde. But now Mercury is in Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo, so it too is at home in the sign it rules, and it too is retrograde. Both of these very strong retrograde planets are opposing each other right now, and Mars is squaring both of them. So Scorpio, are you going to get a lot of help from that Neptune in Pisces right now? Well, it trines your sun, so yes, you will get some help. But it will be behind the scenes help, which is fine. It may not give you all the answers you've been looking for, though, and that's because it is under duress at the moment because of this opposition with Mercury in Virgo and the square from Mars in Gemini. So, Scorpio, you sort of need to look before you leap right now. You need to be careful. The wonderful thing about this new moon in Libra is that it is right behind your sun sign. So there is a lot of light on Sunday right behind your sun sign in Libra, where the new moon and sun will be. And they are backed up by the two planets in Virgo. So if there is a fair offer somewhere in your life, either that is coming to you, Scorpio, or you're deciding to make a fair offer, either to somebody else or regarding some financial matter, because yours is a financial sign, I would say that the possibility of it working out real well behind the scenes is very high right now. And so I wouldn't publicize that too much. I would just sort of handle it. Or remember, if you're getting a fair offer soon, it's going to be based on someone who thinks very well of you, likes you, and admires you. And that's why they're making the fair offer. And it might involve a change in your schedule, or it might involve having to restructure your future plans. That's because Saturn in Aquarius is squaring your sun. It's been doing that for a couple of years. You're sort of used to that. But still, that's what it'll involve. And so you could say to yourself, well, gee, this fair offer is very nice, but I don't know if I'm ready for this. Well, Scorpio, bite the bullet and just be ready. And the reason why is that good offers don't come along that often. And particularly ones that are backed by people who admire you and like you. And so there's a little more going on in that fair offer. Whether you're making it or somebody else is offering something, a fair offer to you. Just remember, fair means you don't get everything. But you do get, I think, basically what you want. And so will the other person. And so just say yes, Scorpio, if it's made to you. If you are thinking of making a fair offer, I would say that you've probably been thinking about that for a while without telling a soul. And that's okay. Scorpio rules secrecy. When they're thinking about something, they don't say anything. They just think about it. And so whether you're getting a fair offer or you're making a fair offer, I think it's going to work out just fine. But it will be somewhat in the background of your life. It may be something that is quite satisfying, but not a lot of people know about it. And that would be just fine. You've got the right light in the background of your life on Sunday. It's the sun and the moon in Libra. And remember, they are part of a grand trine. So nothing wrong with that. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Well, remember, there aren't very many planets in fire signs. It's the same as last week. You do have Jupiter retrograde in Aries trining your sun, which means that some sort of new beginning is going to get tweaked a little bit. It's not going to be quite the way you want it, but it could still work out. I would say if you're thinking of making a new beginning and you've been sort of sitting on the fence, debating it, wondering how much it's going to cost, and you haven't quite got all the information that you need, I would hurry up on that, Sagittarius, because Jupiter, which is trining your sun, is at 4 degrees of Aries. And so it's going backward. So it only has 4 more degrees to go, and it's going to be out of Aries, because it's going backward. And so it'll go back into Pisces, which will then begin to square your sun. I would take advantage of, whatever you're thinking about a new beginning or redoing some new beginning, I would get out and get all the information that you can very quickly, sort of like tomorrow, Sagittarius, and get your facts lined up, get your costs lined up, and try to see people and talk to people, and this should be an information gathering period for you. Because you certainly would not want to go forward without good information. And I think you might have been sitting on the fence, not quite working on that too hard, and you really need to get on it. Because you've had Jupiter in Aries trining your sun for a while, and that's going to end pretty quick as it retrogrades back into Pisces. So you really need to get all the facts about what you want to do. I think, Sagittarius, that your inner resolve to do something that your heart yearns for is stronger now. Maybe you've been just sitting and hoping and wishing, but you've really got to get out and see how it's going to work, and take notes and look up your resources and find out how much it's going to cost. Because I think it's more important to you than you're willing to admit. And all I have to say, Sagittarius, is time marches on. I mean, none of us is getting any younger. Darn it. And so you really need to find out a lot more about something. The new moon on Sunday in Libra is sextiling your sun. It's not hurting you at all. There could be a fair offer around somewhere, Sagittarius. You just got to get out and do a little exploring. So it's lucky that your sign rules travel. It's just that I would get my travel shoes on and get going right now, Sagittarius. You have to get a lot more information put together before you can take the next step. And I wouldn't wait on anything. I would get going on that. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. Well, once again, the stars favor you because there's still a grand trine in the earth signs. And yet, this can be a time, Capricorn, even though Uranus in Taurus is trining Pluto in your sign, and Venus and Mercury are in Virgo, and they are trining your sun as well. So that's really good for your health, because Virgo rules our health. But Virgo also rules our jobs and our job performance and facts and details. And it rules our diet and our nutrition and just being healthy, which is important. But this new moon in Libra on Sunday at 3 degrees squares your sun where you have Pluto, Capricorn. And so there can be a tempting fair offer coming your way, but it can represent challenges to you. In other words, you could say, oh gee, I want to do this, but I don't have the training. Or I want to do this, but I don't have the time. In other words, there will be some sort of a challenge to something that you want to do. And you could come up with all kinds of wonderful sounding excuses about why you can't do it. I mean, because the lights are going to be squaring your sun. But you know, those lights are in a grand trine as well. There's a grand trine in the air signs. Well, there's another grand trine in the earth signs. I don't see how you can lose too much right now, Capricorn. And so, yes, something may not fit into a certain time slot or a certain schedule that you have. You could say, oh gee, I don't think I can fit this in, even though I would love to do it. But Capricorn, your sign is known for its perseverance and its determination and its unwillingness to skip steps. So you generally have things pretty well planned out. And so I think you just need to sit down and plan for something that you would like to do, and then, you know, jump in and do it. There's two very strong grand trines in the heavens. There's 4 planets in the air signs on Sunday, all trining each other. There's another 4 planets in the earth signs doing the same thing. You can't lose, Capricorn. You just, okay, you might have to rearrange your schedule. Okay, it might take a little bite out of your budget. But that's what you've been saving money for anyway, Capricorn. So don't make up a bunch of excuses why you can't go forward. Because for one thing, the new moon is in Libra, and Libra rules partnership. There will be nice people that you'll meet. There will be nice people that you'll know. It will work out. And besides, I don't think you could get more support than you've got right now. It's just tremendous support. So just, if you get a fair offer or you're thinking of making a fair offer, just say yes and plan for it after you said yes. Because don't worry, Capricorn, if anybody can plan how to get something done, no matter how long it takes, it's you. You can do that. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a fortunate time for you, just as it is for Gemini, because the new moon on Sunday at 3 degrees of Libra trines your sun, where you have Saturn, and Saturn is retrograde. You've had Saturn in your sign for a couple of years. Okay, it's like having a heavy weight on your shoulders. It means that you've gone through setbacks that you haven't liked, but you've had to endure them, and you did. You're very lucky, Aquarius, that you are a fixed sign. Because when things get tough, fixed signs really don't give up. And so that's good, because you've had tough situations. You may have had situations in the last 2 years. Remember, that was during the pandemic as well, when you had to adjust to uncertain conditions, and you may not have known what you were doing in order to achieve a goal, but you just sat down, and it might have been the old hunt and peck system, where you just tried something, and no matter how many times you failed, you learned something from the mistakes and the failures, and then gradually you've become rather good at what you're doing. Saturn is a planet of reward. You could be getting a rather fair offer coming up, Aquarius. The sun and new moon in Libra trine your sun. And remember, these lights, the sun and the new moon, are backed up by 2 other planets in Virgo that are coming up behind them and actually conjuncting them, because they're in Venus and Mercury are so late in Virgo. And so behind some kind of fair offer now, or maybe a business or partnership arrangement, there is somebody who really cares about you, or likes you quite a bit, or admires you. And that's the reason to say yes, whether you're making the offer or getting the offer. It should go through. It really should. Because a fair offer means you don't get everything you want, but it definitely indicates progress. And it gives you a chance to do better and to do more. And I think that's what you owe yourself, Aquarius. I mean, even if it's more work, it gets you out in the public eye. And it gets you sort of going again. And we're never too old for that. We're never too old for tomorrow. Tomorrow is what leads us on. Tomorrow is what keeps us alive. Going for tomorrow. And that's what you need to do, Aquarius. This is a very good new moon for you. I hope you take advantage of it. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, remember I said that I've been saying for weeks now that Neptune, your own ruler in your sign, was very strong because it was the only ruler in a sun sign. And even though it was retrograde, it was still very strong. But now Pisces, since it's the only planet in a water sign, there's no backup, there's nothing in Cancer or Scorpio. And now Neptune in your sign is being opposed. It won't stay this way for very long, but it's happening under the new moon on Sunday. It's being opposed by both Mercury, which rules Virgo, and it's in Virgo, and it too is retrograde, and Venus, which is going forward in Virgo, but they're both at such late degrees they conjunct the Sun and new moon in Libra. So you add up the power of these four planets, the two in Virgo that are opposing your sun sign, and you'd almost have to add the two that they're conjuncting, which is the Sun and the moon in Libra. And it might be, Pisces, that there is some sort of little setback in your life. Now, what could the setback be? Well, it might be a health condition. Virgo rules health. It might be that there is a change in a partnership, but it could be an older partnership. It could be a partnership that's been around for a while. And I think that you will simply have to sort of just endure right now, Pisces. Just endure something. And you may be in a situation where you have to wait for something. And so I'm not saying that you can do too much about a situation right now, except if you were a close observer of a situation, you could sit on the sidelines and just watch it pass by. Because it will. It'll pass by. It'll get over. And there you'll still be. You'll be fine. Jupiter is about to come back into your sun sign. That is going to be very good for you. But for right now, I would say that there is either a problem in your job or your work, and it can be even that you are faced with some choices that you have to make about your work or about your work schedule. Maybe that's it. That there's more to do, and of course no more extra time to do it, but somehow you have to fit something in. That could be possible. But I do think it has something to do with a situation from your past that there isn't much you can do about it, except just sit back and watch it pass by. It will. And there are going to be a lot better days ahead for you. So you don't have to do much right now, Pisces. Don't get too involved in a whole bunch of things that you don't control anyway. Don't waste your energy on that. Just step back a little bit right now and be a good observer. I mean, maybe you can learn something from all this. But just remember that Jupiter is about to come back into your sign, and that might be when there is a fair offer coming your way. Maybe you just need to wait until Jupiter gets back in your sign. And that's coming up pretty soon. So I wouldn't waste any energy on anything else right now. Just sit back and watch the world go by, Pisces. And maybe there could be something that you just need to let go of now. And even if it's only a memory, just let go of it. Because better times are really ahead for you. Congratulations. They're almost here. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. And if you'd like, I'd love to send you the show on Wednesday evenings about 8 o'clock if you'd like to subscribe to my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And please tell your friends about that. I'd love to have some more viewers because I really have the nicest viewers that anyone could wish for. And I've had them since the first day I started. And so I'm the lucky one. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. Bye.